God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news and information news update for the British Virgin Islands, and I'm reporter EVH reporting the news for Saturday, September 27th, 2025, covering the latest developments from across the British Virgin Islands. Let us begin with public safety. A landmark 3-day anti-crime summit brought together government leaders, law enforcement, educators, faith groups, businesses, civil society, and youth to chart a territory-wide response to rising crime under the theme, Our Virgin Islands, Safe Communities, Prosperous Territory. The gathering emphasized that enforcement alone will not solve the problem. The goal is an inclusive national crime prevention and reduction strategy built on prevention, intervention, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Panelists confronted financial crime, youth crime, domestic violence, and gun offenses, noting a double-digit rise in reported incidents between January and July, with domestic violence a major driver. Youth voices were front and center, students engaged in workshops and dialogue, and speakers stressed mentoring, restorative practices, and community-led prevention. Security around the summit was heightened after an alert of a potential threat. Multiple agencies coordinated visible and behind-the-scenes measures to keep attendees safe while keeping the focus on solutions. Outside the conference hall, the reality of crime's impact hit home when 3 armed, masked men robbed guests at a private birthday gathering in Mount Healthy, firing a shot on arrival to intimidate but injuring no one. Police collected evidence and appealed for information as residents weighed what more can be done to safeguard everyday spaces. Why this matters. Safety is the foundation of community life and economic confidence. Questions to consider. What single action in the next 12 months would most reduce violent crime? How can schools, churches, and employers coordinate to ensure at-risk youth do not fall through the cracks? Staying with youth and justice. Officials acknowledge that minors are still being housed alongside adults at His Majesty's prison, contrary to constitutional protections that require separation and age-appropriate rehabilitation. With offenders entering custody at younger ages, pressure is mounting to build a dedicated juvenile facility and expand diversion, counseling, and second chance programs. At the summit, a security and justice advisor reported youth offenses rising from 4 cases in 2022 to 20 by mid-2025, while recommending restorative justice approaches that have reduced repeat offending elsewhere. Even as gun-related incidents have decreased in number, recent cases still involve firearms, another reminder that prevention and smart enforcement must work together. Why this matters. The path chosen for young offenders will shape public safety for a generation. Questions to consider. What immediate steps can guarantee the constitutional rights of children in custody? Should funding for a juvenile center be ring-fenced to prevent further delays? 2. Policing and integrity. In a separate governance development, the governor directed the acting head of the police force to clarify that, despite a court-ordered pause on certain enforcement provisions, the broader officer vetting process remains in effect pending the outcome of a legal challenge. Supporters argue vetting strengthens integrity and public trust. Critics want to ensure the process is locally led, proportionate, and clearly explained to the ranks. For officers and the public alike, clarity and consistency are essential as reforms move forward. Why this matters. Confidence in policing depends on both integrity safeguards and fair, well-communicated rules. Questions to consider. How can a vetting system reassure the public without undermining morale? What reporting would show the process is improving standards? To governance and money, a recent audit revealed that members of the House of Assembly more than doubled their compensation in 2024, with the Premier's salary rising to $176,243. Critics say legislators placed themselves at the top of new salary bands while most civil servants were set at the minimum of theirs, and they question transparency around costs and process. Lawmakers counter that higher pay reflects heavy responsibilities and is needed to recruit and retain talent, especially amid reform mandates. In the same period, House debates stretched into a 5th day on the Constitutional Review Commission's report, with far-reaching recommendations on representation, executive powers, oversight, and the relationship with the United Kingdom. One senior legislator warned that some reform efforts risk becoming more theatrical than practical. Another urged competence and capable execution to match new rules. And others pressed for a self-defined future that builds local capacity while negotiating constitutional updates in London. Why this matters: budget credibility and constitutional clarity shape everyday services and long-term trust. Questions to consider: should lawmaker compensation be linked to performance metrics? Which constitutional recommendations have the widest public support and why? To financial transparency, a visiting United Kingdom anti-corruption advocate reviewed progress toward ownership disclosure systems and emphasized there is no single solution to illicit finance. The message: combine open records, balanced oversight, firm enforcement, and accountability with follow-up meetings planned to keep momentum. Why this matters: the financial services sector underpins the economy. Transparency protects its reputation and future. Infrastructure and resilience. Residents of Brewers Bay celebrated the reopening of their community center, renamed in honor of George Christopher, 8 years after the 2017 storms. The upgraded facility will double as an emergency shelter, expanding capacity as hurricane season continues. Elsewhere, the administration announced that full restoration of the Ralph T. O'Neill Administration Complex will slip into next year, prolonging the period during which departments work from dispersed locations. In Cane Garden Bay, Public Works scheduled a 3-day daytime road closure next week to repair a compromised culvert and improve drainage before peak rains. Why this matters: resilient, well-maintained public buildings and drainage protect lives, cut long-term costs, and keep services moving. Questions to consider: should major works have independent public project monitors? What long-term maintenance plans can reduce emergency closures? Energy and environment. Government signaled new legislation to accelerate renewable energy adoption through duty reductions and possible tax credits for solar, wind, and storage, aiming for a more resilient, affordable, and cleaner grid. In the marine environment, the Scrub Island Billfish series recorded 118 catch and release billfish, spotlighting the North Drop's world-class fisheries and the importance of sustainable tournament practices. Why this matters: clean energy builds resilience and reduces costs. Sustainable sport fishing supports tourism while protecting ecosystems. Questions to consider: beyond incentives, what barriers still slow renewable uptake? How can tournaments expand conservation benefits? Economy and tourism. The Tourist Board reported robust growth in summer arrivals across land and marine sectors, crediting targeted marketing and improved airlift. Organizers also released dates for next season's international sailing calendar, including the flagship Spring Regatta, which pumps revenue into marine services, hospitality, and retail. The Junior Minister for Tourism urged greater investment in cultural and historical sites, restoring ruins, churches, and landmarks, so visitors experience more than sun, sand, and sea, while residents preserve the island's story for the next generation. A trade exhibition showcased local entrepreneurship with more than 30 displays, and a district job fair tomorrow will feature on-the-spot interviews and resources for job seekers. Why this matters: diversified tourism and local enterprise spread economic gains, support jobs, and strengthen identity. Questions to consider: how can non-sailing businesses better leverage regatta season? What heritage stories are not yet being told, and who should tell them? Community and health. The Health Ministry launched its annual influenza vaccination campaign, prioritizing young children, seniors, pregnant women, people with chronic conditions, and frontline workers, with free shots at public clinics territory-wide. In agriculture, a farmers cooperative secured a grant for modern processing equipment, washing, sorting, packaging, and preservation to cut post-harvest losses, open supermarket and hotel markets, and boost food security. In education and youth development, the Elmore Stout High School debate team captured the regional championship, while BVI Finance launched a youth essay competition to strengthen financial literacy and build a pipeline into the services sector. Why this matters: preventative health protects families and the healthcare system. Stronger agriculture reduces import dependence, and youth achievement and financial literacy build the next generation's capacity. Democracy and identity. A vigorous debate continued over how the territory recognizes Indigenous heritage within governance. Some leaders warned against divisiveness, while others emphasize pride in deep generational roots and the need to reflect identity fairly in public life. At the same time, a cabinet minister who serves as an at-large member highlighted resource disparities between district and territory-wide representatives, calling for funding models that match responsibility and ensure every voter's interests are supported equally. Why this matters. Fair representation, shared identity, and equitable support for elected roles strengthen unity and decision-making. Questions to consider. What balance between heritage and merit ensures fair leadership? How can funding formulas reflect both local and territory-wide responsibilities? Global Watch. Commentators here and abroad observe that post-war international stability is fraying amid shifting power balances and ideological divides, with implications for small economies like the British Virgin Islands, affecting trade flows, investment confidence, and security arrangements. The call is for renewed diplomacy, stronger rule-based cooperation, and vigilance from small territories that must navigate great power turbulence. Why this matters. External shocks often hit small island economies first. Understanding global currents helps leaders and citizens prepare. Before we close, two quick public notes. Authorities are investigating a weekend shooting in Road Town and urge anyone with information to come forward. Every tip helps. And at His Majesty's Prison, graduates completed a rehabilitation program focused on anger management and substance abuse, one step towards safer reintegration and lower recidivism. These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. What do you think are some good solutions? Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898 WOY449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898 WOY449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, EVH, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, EVH and DGH, together we explain, verify, and highlight as we deliver global headlines, because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Ciao.